Hello there. What's your relationship with being busy? COVID has certainly amplified what we've all been experiencing. There are too many demands and just not enough downtime. And there's not a lot of stuff to do. It's time. Now is the time to not only help yourself by slowing down, but helping your team members to slow down as well. This helps decrease stress and strain and provide the much needed space in our time for other enjoyable endeavors like exercise or spending time with family, connecting with ourselves and with others. Even time for creative endeavors or to do nothing. This go, go, go society is burning us out. And research shows that health problems typically follow long periods of negative stress. Our workplaces fuel the negative stress that leads to burnout, and you as the leader can help change that. I'm Dr. Julie Donnelly, helping you become more effective at leading so you build great teams, create work environments where people feel good about coming to work, and you're less stressed and overwhelmed. If you're new to the channel or have not yet subscribed, then go ahead and do that now. So today we're talking about reducing stress by slowing down, creating space, and just simply being less busy. If you stay busy, you don't have time to think. You don't have time to feel, to question. And you also don't have time to do the things that you enjoy or spend time with people in your life. Your mind is always racing and thinking about what's next. So the first step is determining the reason for the busyness. This comes first. So is it an excuse? Do you use it as being busy as an excuse for why you don't exercise, why you don't make that phone call, why you don't accomplish the things that you say that you want to do, that bring you joy? What are you escaping from? You want to face everything and recover. Hide and you find that life passes you by. You'll wake up one day wondering what happened to your life. Where did the time go? And I know I do that. Like I sometimes can't believe I'm the age I am. Or I'll talk about something that happened 30 years ago. Wow, wait, 30 years ago, I'm not that old. You must make a conscious decision to choose to consider how you're spending your time and why and what you want. Choose to live on purpose rather than just by default. You have to make this a choice and commit to slowing down. Okay, so is it possibly that you're busy because more and more work is being demanded of you? There seems to be no limits to the workload and the demands are just, too high. So the question for this one is, have you spoken up at work to see if people understand that the demands are unreasonable? This would be sort of the first step to this one. Ensure that people know what you have on your plate. And so if you feel uncomfortable saying no to a boss, let's say, then maybe you can say something like this: I would be happy to do that for you, but, and I have X, Y, and Z that I'm working on. Which project would you prefer that I work on today? By letting your boss or whomever know what you're working on and allowing that person to set your priorities for you, then you take responsibility for your time. You honor yourself as well as his or her request. And you recognize and you share with that person the demands that are being asked of you. Sometimes it doesn't work. They don't care and they just keep throwing demands at you. And that's sort of a different problem that we're not going to address today. But in the scheme of things, you would want to look at whether the job is worth it, whether the demands, if they're so high and unreasonable, whether it's worthwhile for you to continue this thing. Because remember, that the stress that you experience today is creating physical problems that will manifest themselves later, that could manifest themselves later. And you don't get to rewind the clock and do this over. Time doesn't wait for us. Okay, let's look at another reason. Do you have trouble saying no to additional work? That would mean poor boundaries. We mentioned one of those, but an unwillingness to speak up, or again, why? What's the reason for the additional work? I had to learn this myself in my younger days. I didn't know how to speak up for myself, and kind of became a dumping ground for others since they knew that I was a get it done person. Well, they had time for coffee and conversations and long lunches. I was busy. I was just busy. And because I didn't stand up for myself, I didn't feel respected. In fact, it seemed that the more I pushed myself and the more I took on, the less respect I received. I wasn't reaping the rewards for my efforts. People were using me, and I felt abused. And so I learned that I needed to speak up, that I needed to respect myself. And in respecting myself, learning to say no, learning to ask for help, um, things changed. And people's reactions to me changed, and including the respect I received. As I got older and moved up in my career, it was even more important that I know this lesson, that what I took on was appropriate for me to take on. What do others expect of you? And what expectations are you holding for yourself? That's a key. You may be holding yourself back by your approach to your work. We often have unrealistic expectations for what we can accomplish, and we just take on more and more stuff. Another reason we would take on stuff and not say no is if we're trying to prove ourselves. And that would be another reason that we would wind up just doing too much. Okay, let's look at another one. Do you struggle with delegating, sharing the work, or asking for help? In other words, your boss is understanding. They're not placing too much on you, but you don't share the work, and so much is left for you to handle by yourself. This was a recent struggle by a client of mine who shared that she didn't include others in the workload, and wound up very overwhelmed and stressed. Once she realized the pain it was causing her, and also the impact that it had on others, they felt that there was a lack of faith and trust in their ability. She learned that keeping the work to herself was actually selfish and not only unhealthy, but it wasn't good teamwork. And it was not good for the outcomes that they desired as well. People wanted to help her. She just needed to help them. Okay, here's another. Do you struggle with having nothing to do? Are you simply attached to being busy? You're used to living this way, getting stuff done, and don't really know how to stop and smell the roses. What roses? When my kids were growing up, they were masters at doing nothing. I would ask, what are you doing? And they would reply, nothing. And it was kind of a big joke. I had no idea. I was always doing something, busy going somewhere. Of course, now I long for those days with my children. They're all grown and off in the world doing their thing. So we miss those times. I'm still learning. As a high achiever, doing nothing doesn't come easy for me. But when you give yourself space in your schedule, you have time to reflect on life and on how you feel and on your health. You're more creative. Downtime allows you to just be rather than do. And another point to cover here today with being busy is ask yourself, do you find that you don't have time for the business? When you tell others, I'm so busy, they don't feel good on the receiving end. You're continually busy when people call, and if you are, then they stop calling. It's as if you're telling them you don't have time, and then what about it? The message you're giving is that things are more important than the people. Always, always put people before things. Stop what you're doing, and when someone is speaking, and give them your attention. This saves time because you're present for them and can hear what you have to say, resulting in fewer miscommunications. It requires time and attention to put people first, but the rewards are invaluable. So, why are you so busy? If you're overwhelmed and unhappy, not doing things that bring you joy and not enjoying the things that you're doing, and don't have time and energy to live the way you want, what are you doing with your time? It doesn't get better until you decide to do things differently. So, here's the summary and some action steps for this week. 1, figure out why you're so busy. Stop making excuses. Take this seriously. 2, simplify your life. Do less. Schedule less on the calendar. Take on fewer assignments, projects. Reconnect with yourself by taking more time to just be. Gently shift your lifestyle so you have more being. And I'm with you. It's a struggle for me as well. 3, start saying no. Find somebody else to do them. You either delegate, hire someone, or stop doing things that really don't need to be done. Check your expectations. If you're dumping ground, then stop doing other people's work and stop taking responsibility for other people's work. Learn how to redirect people kindly and nicely. If you learn to say no, or that you're not able to do that at this time, they'll find someone else, or they'll learn to do it themselves. 4, delegate. Share the work with your team. Let others assist you. Learn to work together. 5, get more comfortable with doing nothing. Eventually, something will bubble up that you'll want to do. Perhaps you'll get involved with a sport or try a new creative endeavor or meet up with some friends, read a book. And 6, be fully present with whatever you're doing in the moment. If you give your full attention to the person you're with or the project you're working on, then you'll enjoy it more. And you'll remember it more. Imagine having time to fully enjoy the work that you do. Give yourself permission to relax and enjoy the ride. The control that you have is over you and your inner state of being. When you give up the frantic pace and set limits on your time, while there may still be hustle and chaos around you, you are able to remain calm and at peace. And as you slow down, you'll find that the relationship with time changes and with life, it changes. You learn that there's more to life than just getting stuff done and accomplishing tasks. Being busy distracts you from looking up at the horizon, seeing the big picture, and where you're going. Learn to slow down and you'll be able to enjoy life rather than just get it going. Now, changing a lifestyle, especially if you've been living this way for a long time, takes time and attention. If you want some help with this, reach out to me. Visit me on my website, drjuliedowner.com. I highly recommend that you keep a journal and reflect on this journey. Let me know how you're doing. How does slowing down help you? How does it help you? How is it helping you avoid for your career, your relationships, your health? When you slow down, things change. And I'd love to hear your experience. Place your comments or questions below so I know how I can assist you. I'll address any leadership questions that you have in a future video. And again, visit me online at my website. Like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Make it a great day and we'll see you next time.